Hello soulmates, welcome back to my channel. In today's video we're going to learn how to cut this beautiful exaggerated sleeve. So if this is what interests you, kindly sit and watch to the end. Let's dive into the video. We're going to be needing our stay, a hard stay or collar stay, and then we're going to be needing a crinoline. I got a crinoline of 2 inches wide, and then we're going to be needing our boning. Okay, the boning I'm using is a Regilin boning, is a sewable boning. I think that's the only boning you can actually use for this sleeve because you need to sew on it, so you don't have to use the iron boning on it. So let's keep this aside and dive into the video. Now the next thing I'm going to do is to fold my fabric into 4 places. Okay, I'm trying to achieve the 2 sleeve at the same time, so I'm going to fold my fabric into 4 places. I folded it into 2 before, so I'm going to fold it again to make it 4, like so. All right, so I have it into 4. With this, after cutting, I will have 2 pieces. That means 1 for this side and 1 for the other sleeve. Okay, so I'm using my fabric. I'm cutting on my fabric directly, but you can decide to cut on a pattern paper first and foremost before you transfer to your fabric. But I'm cutting on my fabric direct, and I'm actually using a free hand on this drafting. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do after setting my fabric right is to mark the length of the sleeve that I'm making, and the length I'm making is of the sleeve I'm making is 16 inches, but I'm going to add 1 inch allowance to make it 17 inches for sewing allowance. So I'm marking the 17 inches like so, and I'm making a straight line connecting it together just to be sure where my sleeve length is starting. Okay, so after that I'm going to mark the wideness of my sleeve, and that is 14 inches. Okay, I'll mark 14 inches. Remember, my fabric is on fold, so I mark 14 inches. When I open it up, I will have like 28, and that's because I'm going to plait the sleeve, okay, to the armhole. So after that, the next thing I'm going to do is to come down by like 9 inches. But before then, I'm going to use my chalk, the blue chalk. I noticed that the white chalk is not showing very well, it's not visible enough, so I'm using the blue chalk to make it a little bit visible. So I hope you guys can see it. Okay, then after that, I just confirm to be sure that the wideness of my sleeve is still 14 inches like so. Okay, so after that, from the length on the side of the sleeve, that's the armhole side, I'm going to come down by 4 inches like so, just to make my armhole curve. It's totally optional. Just make your own normal armhole curve the way you make your armhole curve. Okay, so I came down by 4 inches just to connect, and just for the purpose of this video. Okay, so I just make my armhole curve like that. Okay, and I connect it to the tips like that. Okay, so after that, the next thing I'm going to do is to come down from the starting point of my length of my sleeve. I'm going to come down by 9 inches like so. Okay, from the top of the sleeve, I put my tape, I come down by 9 inches. Okay, and then I'm going to mark a straight line from that 4 inches I made down to the end of the sleeve length. That's the sleeve mouth. Okay, so then after that, from that place that I marked 9 inches, I marked 9 inches from the top of the sleeve down. At that 9 inches, I'm going to make a curve connecting that 9 inches length down to the full length, which is the 17 inches length. Okay, that we initially had to the end. So I'm going to make a curve just like what I am doing. Okay, at this point you can decide to use your curve ruler if you want, but I'm using a free hand right now just to make this curve like so. So I connect it from that 9 inches to the tip of my sleeve mouth like so. So I used 17 inches as the full length, including allowance, and then I used 14 inches as the wideness, and then I came down by 9 inches, and then after that I make a curve connecting the 9 inches down to the tip of the sleeve mouth. Simple. That's just it. And then after this, the next one I'm going to do is to cut it out. All right, so after cutting it out, this is what we have. This is what we have. I'm going to notch the tip of the sleeve just to know where the center of my sleeve sits when I'm fixing it, okay? So after that, when I open it up, this is it. So if you check the wideness, you see that it's up to like 28 inches, okay? So after that, the next thing I'm going to do is to go cut my lining. I'm going to use the same fabric as my lining. You can choose to use another lining, but it's always good to use the same fabric because you know this sleeve is open, okay, so that when they see it, when people are seeing it, they will just see the fabric, okay? So after that, after cutting my lining, the next thing I'm going to do is to gum my stay on it and then sew in the crinoline and the boning on the lining alone. I'm going to sew the crinoline and the boning and the collars, the collar stay on the lining alone, not on the main fabric, okay? So after that, I'll sew it, I'll join the main fabric with the lining and turn it out. Then I'll come to show you guys how it looks. All right, first of all, I just sewed the lining. I gummed the hard collar stay on it, and then I sewed the boning and the crinoline on it like so. And this is what you will have when you turn the front. This is how it will look, okay? So when you look at it, this first one I've actually worked on it a bit. So on the main fabric, I attached a stay. This is like an original stay. I don't really know the name, but it actually come out so perfect. It's like 800 or 850 in the market, okay? So I just added it just to make the fabric more firm, okay? That's the only reason, okay? Then after that, I'm not going to join it like this, the normal way we put the lining and this thing together to join. No, this is how I'm going to join it. I'm going to bring them together, joining the tips, their mouths together, both the lining and the main fabric, so that the lining can be in one side and the main fabric can be in one side. Then I'll just sew it. I'll sew the main fabric together first, and then I'll now sew the lining first, okay? So I'll fold it together and sew it that way. In so doing, I'm going to hide the sewing because you know this sleeve is open at the arm hold, right? So that when the opening, when you're showing your opening, people will not be seeing the sewing. So that's just the trick about this kind of sewing that I just explained right now. Then after that, this is how it will look. Then the next thing I'm just going to do after I finish is to plait it and get my armhole length like that, and then attach it to the sleeve. So after sewing, this is what I have right now. I don't know if you guys can see it very well, but this is it. So this is the inside. You see, you can't see the joining. The sewing is so neat. So this is why we try to achieve that type of joining that I explained before, okay? So after that, this is the mouth. This is the place I'm going to plait and then fix to my armhole. So then after, this is what we have, guys. So beautiful, okay? So guys, if this video interests you, please kindly subscribe if you've not done so, and turn on the notification button, and also click like on this video to like this video. See you on my next